Hi, on this week's episode, I talk about some finished projects, what I'm planning for the market coming up in a couple of days, as well as I thought I would take you along on a little tutorial about how I do my sock knitting. So if that interests you, let's jump right in. Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I am the dyer and maker behind Latah Valley Fiber Co. You can follow me on Instagram at Latah Valley Fiber Co. You can find my shop online, latahvalleyfiberco.etsy.com, or you can message me directly, lvfiberco@gmail.com. All those links will be in the description box below. Okay, so for this week, I have a few finished objects. Mainly things that I'm preparing for the market. I've been focusing on doing crocheted things for the market, namely keychains and wristlets. It is called the So Nice Crochet Keychain Wristlet, and it is by Urbaki Crochet, Urbaki Crochet. And again, I will have it in the link below. So that's what these ones are. Basically, you're doing these little puff baubles, and then you crochet. This is a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away, but you crochet however long you'd like to have your wristlet fit around your wrist. I have a couple that are a little tighter, you know, if you don't want it to fall, to slide off your wrist. So, yeah. Most of these are crocheted with wool, although I do have some cotton. These are 100% wool. And you can tell it's a little bit more rustic with the feel of it, but I think that's okay. That means you're not going to lose it. You're going to grip it, or it's going to be around your wrist, and yeah, you're not going to lose it. It's a little grippier. So these ones are the wool, and actually, I really like this pattern. It's really fast to crochet up. And the attachment to the ring is really superb. I mean, it attaches really well. It's not funky or anything like that. So I have 3 of these in the gray wool. And then I have these ones in cotton. Let's see, what is that one? That's wool as well. Okay, these are in a gray cotton yarn, so you could potentially wash it if you need to. Now, you can wash the wool ones as well. I just wouldn't throw it in the washing machine. So these 3 have the double bobble here, and they're about the same size. And then this one has, I just tried it, I was running out of yarn, so I thought, oh, I don't have enough to do the double again, so I'm going to do 1 bobble, and I actually had a little bit left over, so probably could have done the double. But this is nice too if you want something that's a little lighter, you know, it's not as thick around your wrist. Okay. And then here, okay, so this one, same pattern. I did it out of my hand spun wool. So this has tweed, wool, and silk in it, I think. So that one's pretty as well. And I could knit, this one also has a little bit of a halo on it. I don't know if you can see that there. I have a little bit more of this purple, so I might whip up a couple more of these tonight. Okay, let's see. So basically that pattern I used for all of these. And I really liked it because you could be somewhat versatile. This is the Lion brand Thick and Quick that you can buy at Joann's. And so it also has a bit of a halo around it, which is kind of fun. So I did this. This is bulky, and the other stuff was either fingering or worsted weight. But it just goes to show you can use the pattern for whatever you want. There's just less bobbles overall. And this one I did not go, you know, and make a wristlet. This is just a keychain. And actually I did that because I ran out of the yarn. So I was able to get, oh, what did I do? I was experimenting a little bit on just the different things that I could do with it. These two are just the single bobble and different lengths. I really like this one because of the color variation up here, and then there's a little bit of pink and then down to the blue, whereas this one's just mainly blue. So it's cute. I guess there's a little bit of pink in there. So okay, now I took that same yarn and I doubled it like this. So there's two of the bobbles across there. Okay, so I did the same with this yarn. And what I did, it was so wide because of this being bulky yarn that I folded it in half and seamed up to where I attached it to the ring. So this one is kind of fun. It's substantial. You've got a good grip on it, but it also has these little bobbles, so your fingers just kind of sit in there, and you can grip it really well with your keys dangling off. So that was kind of fun, just testing that out as well. So I have two of those in the Lion brand Thick and Quick, all the same here. And then, did I do that? I did. Okay, so I had some leftover yarn, the, oh boy, let's see. It was the Malabrigo Noventa that I was doing all those hats in, and same thing. So this was the purplish pink hat. I had just a smidgen of leftover and I used it all. And the same thing though, it's bulky. So with that pattern, it was pretty wide. And I thought, so I cinched it together and seamed it up the middle and attached it. So it's pretty, same thing, really substantial as well. So those are what I have ready for the market, as well as my yarn, of course. So that's it for my crochet projects so far. And I've also this week done a little bit of dyeing. I had a return customer ask if I carried a fingering weight organic wool, and I do. It is a single ply, which means that there's no yarn, it's not plied on itself, it's just single. So generally speaking, this would be a very soft and drapey yarn. It would have a drape fabric to it, so you probably wouldn't use it for a sweater, or you could do a hat, but it would have a lot of, unless you were doing a beanie, it would have a lot of slouch to it, which that's in style these days. So it also has a bit of a halo to it. which is nice too. And it's just super soft. I love it a lot. Now, I asked the gal what she was going to use it for, and she is making a shawl. So she's going to combine it with another yarn that she got somewhere else, and it has a pink in it. So she asked for a light pink. So I went ahead and dyed that up for her this week. There you go, Debbie. Beautiful pink. And this is a custom order, so it's not one that I'm going to carry in my shop. Unless, you know, leave it in the comments if you would like a light pink. I could attempt to carry it in the shop. I have lots of pink in there and variations of, I guess, saturation of pink, but most of it is pretty dark. So I don't know if people are interested in the light pink or not, but you can let me know in the comments below. So, okay, one more project that I worked on slightly this week is my husband's socks. And if you watched last episode, I cast on the toe and worked that through with you. That is at the end of the episode, so go back and go forward if you missed it. It's at the end. So this is, these were my husband's birthday socks, and his birthday was a couple weeks ago. So unfortunately, I've been wrapped up in other things. So he's had to suffer through. Now, he has a lot of pairs of wool socks, so he's okay, although he is looking forward to these rather colorful socks. So these, again, I am doing on my double pointed needles by Clover. They are 3.25, which is a US 3. And I am using the yarn that you can buy at Joann's. It is a very rustic, hard wearing yarn. And it is the Patton's Croy sock in the color Clover, actually. Okay, so last week I cast on 24 stitches, so 12 on each needle, and then I increased using my standard increase, which is the knit front and back, excuse me, the knit front and back, until I had a total of 72 stitches across, you know, my 3 needles here. Now this is the front of the sock, or the top of the sock, and then this is the underside of the sock here, which is where I will do my heel. So I'm going to knit for 4 inches from the base of the toe before I start. I do it's a ribbing, but it's along the bottom of the foot, and it helps to cinch in the fabric in case the sock circumference is a little too big. It kind of cinches that in, and then when you slide your foot in, it'll spread to give you that, to give you room if you need it. If you don't need it, it stays nice and tight. And I've knit socks for my husband before, and I do prefer to have that that ribbing there because I feel like it fits his foot just a little bit better. And actually it fits my foot. I typically do that with my socks as well. So that's it for, I haven't really, this is probably 3 inches. So I have another inch to go before I start that. And then I'm going to take you guys along today and do that ribbing. I'll show you how I do it, what I do across the back of the, or the bottom of the sock to create that. And yeah, we'll go from there. So I'm going to leave this out. Okay, I was going to just mention how many wristlets and keychains that I have for the market. And it's not a whole lot. It's a handful. Maybe 20, maybe 15. The main goal, of course, is to sell my hand-dyed yarn at this market. But I found that in the last market, there were a lot of people that just wanted a little something. And so I thought, I better have something that is kind of at the lower end of the price, and maybe that would help them to look at the yarn a little bit more. Not that they didn't look at the yarn, but there were certainly people that were coming through wanting the product, not necessarily the yarn to make the product. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm going with that. That is this Saturday. So if you're in the area, Eastern Washington, I'm going to be in Deer Park, Washington, which is just a little bit north of us. And the market starts at 9 and it goes to 3. So if you're in the area, come by and say hi. I'd love to meet you. Okay, so that's it for what I've been working on and the news of the week. So I thought I'd take you along on a little bit of knitting. So let's knit on a pair of socks. Okay. First thing I need to do is measure and see how far I need to go. I'm a little over 3 inches, 3¼ So I have a little ways left to go. My style of knitting is called Continental, and it is a shorthand term is called picking. So that is demonstrated through this here is my working yarn. I pick it and pull it through. And I tension by having it draped through my fingers. Which is helpful. Keep the tension all the same. So if you watched last week's episode, go to the end and you can watch how I added or cast on my toe, and I kind of walk you through that process. Yeah. So, do you guys enjoy knitting socks? Or are you into, I feel like in the summertime, I kind of lose my mojo a smidge because it's hot, and the last thing I want is wool, a big wool garment on my lap, helping keep me hot. So I do knit a lot of socks in the summer. Because number one, they don't generally sit on my lap. They kind of hang in the air. So, yeah. What do you guys like to knit in the summer? socks, garments. I have been watching a lot of podcasters who are knitting with cotton, making t-shirts and that kind of thing. And I haven't gotten into that yet. I did make a market bag last week. I finished it up, and by that time it was pretty heavy and warm. I didn't feel like the cotton was cooler than wool, so I don't know. Maybe it would depend on what kind of cotton. I knit that market bag out of Pima cotton, which is kind of a higher end cotton. So maybe that makes a difference. So actually I watch a podcaster, Taylor Earl. She does Wool Needle Hands podcast. She's also a dyer of yarn. Fiber for the People. And she was talking about how the different cottons have different staple lengths, and that the Pima cotton has a longer staple length than most of the others. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't actually know that. So it's kind of like wool. Wool has staple length as well, and just depending on the sheep and the age of the sheep, actually. Younger sheep have a shorter staple length for their first cutting generally. So, yeah, thought that was interesting. So school is out here for us in a couple of weeks, our public school system, but I homeschool, and my son and I are finishing up this week, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday the 2nd, which also happens to be my birthday. So that's a good day to end our school year on, I imagine. We're really looking forward to summer and the summer activities. So, but we're trying to finish strong, finish well, and he's finishing up 3rd grade, so I now have a 4th grader coming up, so that's exciting. You guys looking forward to summer? Summer's off, summer vacation. Hope you are. I enjoy the sunshine. It always brightens my mood. I tend to have, in the wintertime it's a lot grayer around here, and if there's not some sun breaks in the winter, then it gets a little dreary. So it's nice. I enjoy the summer. And my son loves water, and he is a very avid swimmer. He's been swimming since he was a youngster, and he doesn't care if it's cold. He enjoys every aspect of swimming. So oftentimes we spend most of the summer at the lake, and yeah, this year will be slightly different, but we will still have lots of time swimming as well, so that'll be fun. We enjoy camping, and my husband likes to camp rough. which basically means no hookups, no toilets, no people besides those that you invited to the party. So that's always fun. We tent camp, and we do have a family that we go with that has a truck camper that they enjoy. And you know, that's pretty easy. You're still able to get off the road and out into the woods. So generally when we camp that way, we're next to either a river or a creek, which the kids can play in, and yeah, it's fun that way for them. There's still water. Maybe not like full-on swimming water, but there's enough to get wet and splash and find fish and all the things related to that. So it's fun. We always have a great time, so we're looking forward to that. September 4th, or no, July 4th. July 4th will be our first camping trip. Although I did camping over Memorial with some gals, some friends that we did camping, hiking. We trailer camped though. And it was a little rainy, not bad. Not bad, not a typical Memorial, but not horrible. So a couple more rounds to go to the 4 inches. And then I will show you my text. Okay, so this ribbing, here's the toe. This ribbing here is the section that I'm talking about that cinches in, and you can kind of see how it's got a little bit of a right there. So I'm here and I'm gonna knit across, and I'll show you. I generally will, so I'm on the underside of the sock. I knit, DPNs, man, they poke into everything. Okay, so I knit the first 3, and then I start and I purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, all the way across. And I will do that for 2 inches. Purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. And then there's the 3 stitches at the end, and I just knit those. Okay, so that starts the pattern for the ribbing on the underside of the foot. So follow along next week. In next week's video, I will decrease for the heel. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. All right, I hope you all enjoyed that little tutorial. Join me next week as we continue the process on how I typically knit my socks. And other than that, have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy time with your family, enjoy the sun, the kickoff to summer, and I'll see you next week.